Hey band, choir, and orchestra directors, it's Jill, and last week I talked about jobs for students in the classroom, and today I want to talk about how I selected and trained students for those jobs. So if you missed the first video, go back and watch that one and then come back here. So first of all, I want to make clear that there's no one right way to do this, and these are just ideas for you, so you'll have to figure out what way works best for you and your kids. So the first step after knowing what jobs you want students to take care of for you is to write a short bullet point job description for each one. As an example, from the previous video, I talked about having a bouncer. So what I would need for that position is someone who is okay with answering the door that we keep closed and locked. They would need to have a seat that's in the vicinity of the door. So in my classroom, that would have been a trumpet player or a clarinet player. They need to be here most days, so generally good attendance, and they need to be okay with making phone calls on the school phone. That description is so that students can read that and decide if they want to apply for that job or not. Once I had all those job descriptions written out, it worked for me to put them all in a Google Doc, and then I would have students just check anything that they were interested in. Everybody did not need to have a job, and it usually worked out for me to have about the right amount of applicants. And sometimes I would have more interest, which was great, and then I would say, okay, this person's going to do it semester 1, this person's going to do it semester 2. If you have more interest than that, or depending on age, something that works great for high school kids who are going to be applying for real jobs soon, you can have them submit a short application that says a couple of sentences about why they think they would do well at the job and give a character reference from a staff member. Then once I had students selected for each job, I would reuse from year to year the same just colored sheet that has all their expectations for their job written on it. So in the bouncer's case, this sheet would say, answer the door anytime anyone knocks. If it's an administrator or staff member, let them in. If it's a band student, let them in. If it's a non-band student, ask them what they need. Then if they are looking to retrieve a student or give me a message, then the bouncer comes to talk to me about it. If those students are not band students and they are just fooling around in the hallway, that's when they get to use the school phone. So you shut and lock the door again, and then you head to the school phone, and they have a little script that says, hi, my name is blank, and I'm calling on behalf of the band room and Miss D, and there are 3 students in the hallway, and if you know their names, give them the names so that the office is aware they're in the hallway. That usually didn't happen too often, but it happened often enough that I gave them a script for it. That sheet also included what would happen if we found that that student could not meet the expectation of that job. So in my case, the first thing that would happen if I didn't feel that they were living up to the job is we would have one conversation, and that was to talk about ways in which they were not meeting the expectation, if they had questions that I could clarify for them, and then to give them another chance if they wanted it. Then, if we had had that conversation and a little time passed and they were still not able to perform the duties of the job, then they would be asked to retire from the job so it could be offered from someone else. One caveat is that I always did this with absolute kindness and never anger, because I felt it's okay if students cannot perform a job that is above and beyond the regular responsibilities of a band member, and they just need to back out with grace and say, you know what, I tried it but I couldn't quite handle it, and it's time for someone else to give it a try. This is, after all, a volunteer position, and we're in the business of giving them opportunities and being able to say no if they are struggling with something else. And finally, once they have their sheet with all the expectations and what will happen if they do not meet those expectations, then they just need to be trained on anything that's in their description that they might not already know how to do, such as use the school phone, or file music if they're the librarian to put things in score order, or how to fix the sand tables if they're the repair tech. The last thing is that if I had something that had to be done on a daily basis, like my personnel manager taking roll or the bouncer that has to open the door anytime someone knocks, I would ask them to designate a replacement if they had to miss, like if they were at a doctor's appointment or something. And usually that was someone that sits next to them that kind of understands the gig, and they would give them a quick training so that if they had to miss, that someone else would know how to take over. So that's it for student jobs. Let me know if I missed anything that you do in your classroom when you're training up your kids. Catch you next time.